What is up, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy NBA Today, a sports ethos presentation presented by our great partners at FanDuel. With me, as always, is FSWA Hall of Famer Steve, Dr. A. Alexander. We're going to get into it here real quick. Doc, how you doing?
Good. I'm mad at Brandon Pajemski, but I'll live to see another day. How are you doing, Brew?
I'm good. I got my Guster shirt on. I don't know why that puts me in a good mood.
Oh,
Shout out.
nice.
Brian
I didn't even notice.
You didn't even notice? Yeah, I got my
A
Guster shirt
hummingbird.
on.
My wife wants to get that hummingbird tattooed on her
Oh,
body.
yeah? Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I should too. Like right across my chest here with no regrets. Right above
Do you
it.
have any tattoos, Brew?
Not yet. I'm working on it.
Working on it. I don't have any, and I'm probably not working on it. The whole point of getting tattoos is to rebel against your parents, or rebel against society. But everybody has tattoos. So I'm actually rebelling by not having tattoos.
I like to talk about getting tattoos and then never actually get around to doing it. I think I'm going to be like 60, maybe 70 in there and getting something inadvisable.
One of your favorite pastimes, talking about getting tattoos, but not getting tattoos.
With the gal that does my hair that has 5 million tattoos. And she's like, dude, you're never getting a tattoo, man. But enough tattoo talk.
The gal,
we are going to go
the gal that does your hair. I love that.
Yeah, the gal. She's literally tatted all the way. Everything, like every piece of her skin is tattooed, and it actually looks nice.
Once you're old enough that you're calling people gal, your tattoo days are probably behind you.
Damn, I'm having a midlife crisis right here on air.
Yeah, at least you were wearing a cool shirt though.
Hey, yeah, there we go. We're gonna get you guys all taken care of here today. We got our must-add players after a light slate, but we got a big slate ahead. We got some drop talk. We'll do players of the night, some streamers, other stuff. Doc, let's get right into it. I mean, not so much news before we get into it. Not so much news. I know Andrew Nemhard has a shoulder injury we're watching out for. But after last night, some must-add players. Anybody come to mind?
Well, Aaron Wiggins for OKC was phenomenal. And, you know, OKC is going to be weird until Jalen Williams comes back, because I feel like it's like next man up. All right, tonight was Aaron Wiggins' turn. Next game, if he's healthy, we're going to go to Lou Dort or Isaiah Joe or whoever. I feel like this could be a rotating situation, but man, Wiggins was really good. He had 23 points, 9 boards, 5 triples, and a block, and he looked really good. I think you can pick Wiggins up right now and roll with him. The other guy, here's something interesting. My buddy who does not really watch a ton of NBA basketball, but follows the Pacers, sends me a text. He's like, "Why are the Pacers playing without a center?" And I was like, well, they started Isaiah Jackson and they have Jay Huff off the bench. And then I looked at it and, Jackson was in horrible foul trouble all night, never got out of it, has never looked good to me throughout his entire career. I'm so over Isaiah Jackson. And then, Brew and I have gotten all fired up about Jay Huff at times. So far, he's been a huge dud in Indy, but Obi Toppin was bringing energy to that game last night. And I feel like at some point the Pacers are going to pull the plug on everything and just be like, just run Toppin out there and let him gazelle up and down the floor and dunk and do fun stuff. Because there hasn't been anything fun about Isaiah Stewart or Jay Huff, even though we're only one game in. So I think Obi Toppin, who had 20 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals, or was that 2 blocks? Played 40 minutes. Hit 8 of 18 shots. I think Toppin might be the other guy that I was thinking about might be a pickup.
There was actually a decent amount to choose from. I mean, in some leagues, Aaron Gordon might not have even been drafted. And you would be chasing a very, very outlier-ish line with Aaron Gordon's 50 points, 8 rebounds, 1 block, 10 triples.
Unbelievable.
17 of 21 shooting, 10 of 11 from the foul line. My word. You had Aaron Wiggins. Man, okay, Benedict Mathurin drafted in most leagues, so I'll kind of set that aside for a second. Let's go to AJ Mitchell. 26 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 8 of 8 from the foul line, 38 minutes. Okay, so that one's a tough one, right? Like, I think this is for deep league GMs to consider. I don't think this is must-add territory, but I want folks to just keep an eye on this kid because he is good and he plays in a good team with a lot of good players, and he could get forgotten really quick here. But if anything clears for him, he has the goods to make it happen. So just watch that name, and you kind of, I think it's a deep league kind of an ad night. Like Gordon Mathurin probably added in most leagues, but like Ben Shepherd sitting here showing up, 15 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 3 threes, 39 minutes. Rick Carlisle loves Ben Shepherd. Ben Shepherd probably he has him over for dinner every night. You know, they're just like peas in a pod. He runs hard. He does exactly what Carlisle wants him to do. And if this team does go small, like you're talking about, it's going to be like Shepherd, Jarris Walker, who also had a big night, 13 points, 4 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, 30 minutes for him, 1 triple. These are the 2 players that fit the mold, and Obi Toppin as well. And Toppin, what's crazy, he didn't hit a 3 last night. He went 0 for 8 from deep and still racked up an 8 for 18 line from the field. That's the cool part about Obi Toppin is there are a lot of dunks in there. And so because he's shooting threes, you're actually getting some decent balance there in terms of field goal percentage. But I would stick with the probably Ben Shepherd. If I had to pick, so other than Obi Toppin, I would pick Ben Shepherd after that in a light night. What about some drops, Doc? We got some players that are struggling a little bit. Start us off. Who do you think we should talk about here?
I mean, Isaiah Jackson and Jay Huff are the 2 that come to mind for me because, like I already talked about, man, I've never seen Isaiah Jackson look as good as I want him to look. He's never lived up to the hype. I think you and I both think that Jay Huff is better than Isaiah Jackson, yet he's buried on the depth chart behind him, and now both guys just got spotlighted by Obi Toppin. So I don't know what to think. It might be too early to panic and pull the plug on either one of those guys because it is, that was the Pacers' first game of the season. Hell of a game, by the way, overtime against the champs, and they ended up losing eventually. But 2 overtime games on a 2-game night, man, you can't ask for much more than that. But I mean, out of last night, what I saw, the 2 guys that I'm thinking to myself, I might need to drop this guy. It's Jay Huff and Isaiah Jackson.
It was a really rough 2-game start for both of those guys, and I at some point I figured
I would. Second game?
Yeah, I believe so. No, first game, second game.
I thought it was their first, but now you're making me.
It ain't been good. I'll say that.
Yeah,
I think I've had concern from the get-go. First game, thank you. My brain's turning on here. I'm actually recovering from an entire couple months of B150ing. I think the thing that I always look at this time of year is there's some weird ass stat lines out here. It's like this every single year. Like Aaron Gordon, 50 points, 10 threes, whatever I just said earlier. That's crazy. And it's happened in the games that we've seen so far. It's like somebody who's winning a little bit too much, somebody not winning enough. And it normalizes within about 2 or 3 games is maybe from here, 2 or 3 games from here. Then you start to see what's the real tempo of the team. So a lot of these guys, I don't like to overreact one way or another, but Jay Huff, one good thing for him, he had his 2 blocks and he had his 1 3-pointer, and he did it in his classic 12 minutes. This is a classic Jay Huff in Memphis line. And the question isn't, can Jay Huff do this? He can do this. This is actually hilariously somewhat valuable. Can he get the 26 minutes that he needs to be consistent and not scare the crap out of you? Because this line, while you get your blocks and you get your triple, and that's kind of okay, it's not paying the bills in the vast majority of leagues out there. You need the 26 minutes so the bottom end can actually be serviceable instead of just the once in a while explosion. So,
did you read Jay Huff's stat line? Because it was 5 points, 3 boards, 2 blocks, 1 3, 12 minutes. Like, you're right, dude. It's there. If that's 24 minutes, right? Then it's 10
That is
points,
10 points.
6 boards, 4 blocks, 2 threes, which looks way better than what we got. But if Carlisle's not going to play him, it's like if a tree falls in the wood, it doesn't matter.
There's been a lot of games, and that's what I'm watching for in a bunch of action tonight, is a lot of games that just the stats don't match the team and the players, and you just kind of go like preseason or probably first week of the season action ranges. Like some games play like a playoff game. We've seen that, in the opener. We've seen that in the games last night. Just so there's this like, intensity, and it feels very, very normal. And then some games are still the preseason, and I wonder about Jay Huff, if maybe he just hasn't learned their system yet, and it's taking him a while to figure out how to get the screens going. And the screen game for the bigs is really big for Rick Carlisle in general, but maybe he's just like, I'll go small tonight. But we'll find out here shortly, and we will track those two players. Anybody else on the drop discussion radar for you, Doc?
I want to talk about Aaron Gordon just for a second. By the way, we haven't even mentioned that Shea had a career high of 55 in a double OT win against the Pacers.
Ridiculous.
Shot like 29,000 free throws. My son came into my bedroom last night, and he was like, I never see him get mad. He's very mellow, and he cannot stand Shea, dude. He was so upset about the number of free throws that Shea shot last night. He's like, he's a fraud. It's BS. Like he's so angry about it. But anyway, back to Aaron Gordon. If you had Aaron Gordon in your lineup last night, congratulations. You had him in there for the best game of his entire season. And now you can move on, like sell him for whatever you can get. Let him have one more good game and move him. Because that is not normal. It's nothing approaching normal. It was a total outlier. And it was incredible. The dude was on fire for 3. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's also from the San Jose area, so it could easily be one of those things where they say, "Hey, all your family's in the crowd. We're going to give you the ball a lot," and that stuff tends to happen. That said, the stuff that I watched, he was just sitting there.
They can give him the ball all they want, but he's never going to hit 9 of 11 threes again, or whatever that was, or 10 of 12, whatever it was. It was insane.
The basketball's been good. Like I cannot say enough about the basketball being good. Did you have another drop thought on him?
Just real quick. Somebody on Twitter was like taking a poll, like taking a test. Hey, tell me who you think is going to be the first guy to score 50 points this season. And I'm going to bet my house that nobody said Aaron Gordon. I think Devin Booker was there. I think SGA was there. Actually, SGA beat Aaron Gordon
like the game. Yeah, just earlier in the night
by like an hour. But it was just funny because I don't think people had Aaron Gordon on their bingo.
Well, and that's actually a good pivot into like Cam Johnson and Christian Brown, because these players are quiet right now, and that's concerning to those in probably roto leagues that drafted Christian Brown in like the 80s and the 90s for his solid field goal percentage. The stat lines are just bad. I won't read them off to you guys. This just normalizes. I think this just normalizes whatever you think Cam Johnson was going to do, whatever you think Christian Brown was going to do. I was probably lower on Cam than most, even though I'm extraordinarily optimistic about how he will perform. I don't think that the stats are coming his way this season. He shot 58% on twos last year in Brooklyn. And that's just, to me, a fascinating number. Like, how did he do it? I don't know how he did it. And now he's going to get Jokic throwing him the ball, letter high passes in prime position. And so he could have a very efficient season. I just don't know if it's going to be there. But anyway, I think these guys bounce back. Your guy, Brandon Pajemski, 11 points, not 13, 11 points. What were the odds on FanDuel? Do you remember?
I don't know. It was 11 through 3. He had 11 through 3 quarters and couldn't score a freaking basket in fourth quarter or overtime. Come on, bro. Yeah, I was not a Cam Johnson guy this year, and I never really have been a Cam Johnson guy. I didn't even talk about him. I didn't draft him. I just figure he'll be hurt by Christmas, and we won't see him for 2 months, and it just will be what it is.
I'm tempted to talk about a player from Golden State, but I want to save this for the end here. What about your guys of the night? Who are your guys of the night that you wanted to talk about?
Benedict Mathurin looks like a different basketball player to me than he did last year. I mean, he's driving to the rack. He's running over people. He's fired up. He scored 36, and I think he had 10 boards. Like, he reminds me of like prime Julius Randle, like no steals, no blocks, but he was hitting threes last night. He was getting rebounds. He was scoring points. The Pacers need his offense. I think if you drafted Benedict Mathurin, you're looking pretty good, and he was one of my guys. I don't think Johnny Kuminga was one of my guys, but he hit over half his shots again. Didn't score a ton, but had a nice solid game. Like, if Kuminga sticks in that starting lineup as they showcase him for a trade or whatever they're doing with him, more power to you and them. So I like what Kuminga's doing. And that's all. I had Aaron Gordon on my list, but we already talked about him.
Well, with Kuminga, I think this is interesting. I mean, we talked a little bit about the bounce back the wrong direction, the regression after the big start for Jonathan Kuminga. And so the numbers are kind of there: 14 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, 1 triple, but they weren't really there. This is more of a classic Kuminga line. How did you come out of last night's game? He played a ton of minutes. He was on the floor when it counted. They actually looked good with him on the floor. They played a big lineup. The Warriors looked great. Shout out Steph Curry. But
Yeah,
where does this go for Kuminga? Is this like consistency in a fantasy setting, or is this more same kind of like, there's holes in his game and it's just not as worth it as it seems with the high point totals?
Well, he clearly was not the same Kuminga he was on opening night when he went off, but he also didn't fall back to earth with a dud. Like, he had a nice, quiet, solid Kuminga game, which is that's a positive. Like, that's a good sign of things to come. So I think if you've landed on Kuminga, you just ride along until we see how this goes. But as long as Steve Kerr's going to start him, I think he's good to go.
The things that stood out to me that worried me: 0 steals, 0 blocks, 1 of 3 from the foul line. Those little details right there with the Jonathan Kuminga situation, while contrasted against the fact that he looks good, they're winning, he's playing tons of minutes, he feels like he's a part of the plan there, at least right now. That all bodes well, but then those other details are just kind of hanging out there.
It sounds a lot like Benny Mathurin. It sounds a lot like Julius Randle, except Mathurin hit 15 of 17 free throws in that game last night, which was huge.
I didn't watch that game. But I wonder if that was a really tough watch, all those free throws.
No, he was just driving. He was just getting, like, he was taking it to the rack, dude. He was either shooting a three or driving.
When I flipped it on toward the end, I did notice that Shea was doing his normal stuff, and I thought they were, quote, ethical free throws, as he was getting them, the multiple pump fakes and getting guys up in the air and legitimately being fouled versus the kind of stuff he's somewhat known for. Let's spin it back to my players of the night. Now, you talked a lot about Isaiah Jackson and Jay Huff. That was who I wanted to talk about because those two they formed a nice little fallback strategy for me in drafts. Like, I was able to, and I'm going to release my my high stakes draft picks and teams here somewhere today if I can get around to it, and so you guys can see who I drafted. But these two formed like the backbone of a fallback strategy where I could take the both of them at the back ends of drafts in like the 150, 160, 170, 180 range. And I think that's a great place to take them. You got potential at some nice upside there. And they, of course, aren't doing well. So we've kind of covered that. I will basically highlight the entire Golden State Warriors team. Curry, 42 points in a full line. Jimmy Butler, 21 points in a full line. Draymond Green, 13 points and almost triple-doubled. That, I wonder in Golden State, did Jimmy Butler arrive and make this team really, really good from a fantasy perspective? Unlocking like kind of more of a peak Steph Curry, who I was able to get in a lot of drafts and I was thrilled to have him where I was getting him. Butler being good again and also on the floor again. Does Jimmy Butler stay on the floor for, say, 69, 70, 71 games? That would be massive. He would be a massive 3-4 round jumper if he's able to do that. And Draymond Green, if he's just good, people kind of forgot about Draymond Green. He was just a kind of a 120, 130, 140 guy in high stakes action. And so that might be where I'm focusing on last night is this now a juggernaut, so to speak, or a mini juggernaut in fantasy, the Golden State Warriors. But other than that, not too much from a 2-game night, other than the players that we have already mentioned. So let's get into tonight. We have a ton of action. We got a lot of streamers to pick from. Too many, even. Where are you starting when you look at this slate tonight?
I've got a fairly big list here. I'll rattle them off and talk about my favorite 3. I've got Ron Holland, Isaiah Stewart, Grayson Allen, Dante DiVincenzo, who should be owned. Ryan Rollins, Cole Anthony, take your pick there. Dennis Schroeder, Cam Whitmore, Sam Merrill of Cleveland, and then Jeremy Grant. And the 3 that I'm going to talk about are Ron Holland, Isaiah Stewart, and Jeremy Grant. I'm not a Jeremy Grant guy. In fact, I'm an anti-Jeremy Grant guy. But Sadiq Bey was on my team, and I dropped him and picked up Jeremy Grant off the waiver wire. And Jeremy Grant in his last game came off the bench and hit 10 out of 14 shots and 4 3-pointers for 29 points, 3 boards, and a block. I'll take that off the waiver wire all day and ride him until he makes me mad, and then I'll drop him. So I think Jeremy Grant, if he's sitting there available in your league, and he very well may be, you pick him up. Holland last game, talked about him yesterday, 19 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals, a block, and a 3, 27 minutes off the Pistons bench. And then Isaiah Stewart had 2 threes, 20 points, 10 boards, 4 blocks in that opener for Detroit. So those are, I've picked up Stewart, I've picked up Holland, and I've picked up Grant in at least like different leagues, but I've picked up all 3 of those guys in the last 2 days. And if I can do it in these leagues I'm in, you probably can too.
That sounded great at the end there. Okay, so I got a triumvirate in Milwaukee: Ryan Rollins, Gary Trent, Cole Anthony, Sam Merrill, Josh Minot, Karis LeVert, Jeremiah Fears, Tristan Vukcevic, Jake LaRavia, Buddy Hield, Drew Eubanks, Keon Ellis, Colin Gillespie, Nick Richards, and Terrence Shannon Jr. I want to focus on Terrence Shannon Jr. And this is a player that I wanted in drafts a lot, and I was not able to get him because he was sort of further down the list of players that I had ranked, and so I didn't get him. I don't think anywhere. Maybe one or 2 spots in high stakes action. So this is a player who's going to play tonight, and he's going to get you whatever stats. He's been giving low end serviceable lines throughout the preseason and here into the regular season to start off. And this is a guy that came into the playoffs and just was a dominant force for the Wolves when he was on the floor in key action. And physically, I thought that he looked like maybe he was going to be a kind of a higher end physical player. I think maybe some of that was, I don't want to say overstated, but the way I look at his game right now is I don't think that he's top of the charts physicality, jumping out of the gym and that kind of stuff. But he's definitely close. And he's also been working on his offensive game. And so some of the defensive stats aren't where I would like to see them. But the fact that he's going to get minutes this season, he's going to kind of troll around the bottom of the waiver wire for production. And then maybe something moves for him. Maybe somebody gets hurt. And then you've got yourself something pretty good cooking there. And I always like to get in on some of these assets in a streaming situation, and then hopefully you get a little bit more than that. I'll also look at Sam Merrill. He's going to get a Brooklyn team that's bad. So that's going to be
that one.
Yeah, that would. And they really, I think, just need him to produce right now. They're a little bit thin, and he's a guy they gave money to, so money on the court plays. Merrill is going to be my second of three. And then Jeremiah Fears, I'm kind of highlighting because I wasn't a Fears guy coming into the season. And, watching his film out of school coming into the draft, I just thought he was small and he wasn't going to be able to, just kind of hack it in year one in the NBA. He's definitely got a lot of talent. But here's his scoring lines dating back to the preseason. He had 12 in the second game against Melbourne, 20 against Houston, and 16 against Orlando. And then he popped off with 17 points in the opener against Memphis. Now, the rest of the stat line's not good, but something about him is scoring at the NBA level, and they're going to want him to be on the floor at some point. So, yeah, it's very risky. It's deep league stuff, but perhaps you can have an inside position if he does start to consistently score. If he's consistently scoring in this 20, 16, 17 point range, I think he's going to be pretty good for you. And shout out Mark Camaro on his Fears ranking over at the Dynasty Ranks at Sports Ethos. A little hint, whenever I'm drafting in my Dynasty leagues and I have not looked at anybody yet, I just go read Mark's stuff. And then my Dynasty team does really, really well. So shout out to Mark and the work that he does over there, and check out his ranks there on the site right now. I think that's it for my streamers. So what you watching for tonight other than that?
Dillon Brooks versus Devin Booker. Dillon Brooks shot the ball a lot more times. I don't have the number written down, but way more than Devin Booker did in game one. Maybe that's because Booker was playing point guard and distributing to everybody, and everybody else was just firing up shots. But Devin Booker needs to be taking the most shots of anyone on the Suns team, especially compared to Dillon Brooks. So I want to see how that goes down. We have a matchup of the Thompson twins, Detroit versus Houston tonight. I'm kind of fired up to see how that goes down. And I still feel like we're waiting for a Thompson twins full-blown explosion. It would be cool if they both went off tonight. And then go ahead.
Like 11, 9, and 5 didn't get you going.
I mean, it was all right. I didn't hate it.
I was wanting more too. I was very happy to see that line.
I want to pop. I want to see him pop.
You want the big one. All right.
And then I want to see Wemby dismantle the Pelicans tonight and emerge from the dismantling in one piece.
I could say that. Yeah, actually, no, I did have that on my board. I call it Victor Wembanyama tracking, but it's like I'm a kid in a candy store. I just want to see what this guy can do. And I can't say enough about the NBA to start this. I haven't been this excited about just like, okay, I'm going to get home or whatever. I'm going to watch the games. I haven't been this excited to do that in week one ever. I don't think, because I'm legitimately waiting to see something like crazy, and flipped it on last night and just watching Steph just go nuclear. It's just freaking awesome. And then you got all sorts of crazy stuff going on in the NBA in general. So it's a weird week here in the NBA. I'll be watching the Wembanyama stuff. I really I looked at the slate and I said, okay, yeah, there's a lot of, B150 guys out there I want to watch. And, there's a little here and a little there. I didn't see kind of this classic, oh, I got to see this fantasy situation. It's big time. I got to see it. But I did notice that Houston against Detroit size is something that I want to see. You got Jalen Duren, you got Isaiah Stewart, you got Alpi Shingun, you got Steven Adams. Which one wins? Which game plan, which strategy wins if Houston can sort of barrel through that and just keep being good and keep producing stats, specifically Alperen Şengün. Want to see what's up with Amen Thompson. Want to see what's up with Reed Shepherd. Want to see what's up with just their lineups in general. Because if it's Steven Adams and 20, 30 minutes of that, and they're just going to pound teams, I think that it's going to do great things for Alperen Şengün's stat set. If they don't do that, I think we're kind of in last year's rhythm and last year's pattern. And the first game was more of a outlier in week 1 than it is a sign of things to come.
Actually, I picked up Steven Adams as well in one league just because I'm like 14, 13 rebounds a game. I'll take that. I think Houston's going to blow Detroit out of the gym tonight, but that's me.
I think Detroit's now officially overrated. Like, it's sad. The ride was fun. It was great last year. Almost made a lot of money. Almost. But there's everybody's hunting for him. You know, the injury to Ivy is definitely going to impact their depth. No Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley was like the heart of that team in many ways, and that just changes everything. And they got a lot of heart to go around. And yeah, Cade is Cade, and Cade is going to be freaking awesome this year. But I don't think they're going to be as good as everybody thought they were going to be this year. Okay, the last segment here is not. I'm going to vote for a change of segment name.
Ooh, dude, I was just sitting here like, when we're done with this show, we're going to move risers and fallers up to add drops and have them be like one thing.
I'm just like so confused. And look at this guy.
Andre's like, this is not a discussion
like,
for the
and
show.
He's like,
boys.
also don't talk about me. I'll send somebody to break your knees. Fantasy risers and fallers, folks. No, this is actually just at the end of the show. We got guys we haven't gotten to, and we want to talk about kind of what are we looking at for the rest of the year. Like, for example, Cooper Flagg, 0 assists, point guard. Is he going to do it again? You know, he heads to or Washington heads to Dallas. There's a ton of B150 guys in Washington that I'm keeping an eye on. Keyshawn George obviously had a great night, but
he did.
Some players that I look at as second, third, and third of the season guys like Justin Champagnie, Tristan Vukcevic, you know, guys that can pop when given the chance. Like, are they going to get the chance in the first third of the season, or is it going to be all about the veterans and like, where do you want to hold? Where do you want to like, you know, cut and then maybe try to pick back up in a couple weeks? That's what I'm looking for in Washington. And Dallas is just fun to track in general. But before I take it all, what else do you want to talk about, Doc?
Well, my riser list, to your point, we covered every single guy back during ad drops. So it was like AJ Mitchell and Jarris Walker and Ben Shepherd. So a faller that I have that we have not mentioned yet is Isaiah Hartenstein. And a lot of people drafted Isaiah Hartenstein, and he had 5 points. And I think he had like 14 boards, but his line is what just it just doesn't like this. Chet Hartenstein pairing is hurting both of them, and Chet can survive it, right? Chet's fine, but Hartenstein would be so much more fun if he was not playing next to Chet Holmgren. So I'm not dropping Hartenstein if I have him, and I don't have him anywhere. But where are you on this? Are you in wait and see mode? Are you like, oh, he's going to be
when
fine?
Hartenstein played for the Rockets back in the day, my jaw kind of dropped a little bit. It was like, wait, why is this guy why is he a who he play for guy? You know, and then following him through the years, like, so I've been a Hartenstein guy, long story short. And New York, very excited about him. And then when he got the deal to go to Oklahoma City, I was like, damn, that's going to put them over the top. But the razor's edge of big man athleticism is what it is. Like, I don't think he was special the last couple years, OKC and in New York. He was special, like cover the crap out of anybody and be able to bang with the big. And then you get too slow. And he's never been a huge blocks guy. So those defensive stats, I think they're just going to kind of keep receding, and his utility on the floor is going to slowly recede. I just think he's going to be like, you've kind of characterized him as like just not quite as good as what you thought you were getting if you were into drafting Isaiah Hartenstein. So it's a bummer, but times change. Other than that, I got what else do I got here? I got some fun games like Atlanta and Orlando. Atlanta got kind of served in game 1, and now they get a big rivalry game in Orlando against a team with a lot of firepower. And I want to see what's what after that. Milwaukee in Toronto, I think, is a really scintillating matchup. You got kind of the old guard and possibly something of a new guard playing, and Milwaukee came out firing in the last one. So we'll see like that. Let's see what's up with that. And I want to see if Jake LaRavia shows up. I want to see if Keon Ellis shows up. I want to see if who's actually a nice little play is Nick Richards might be worth streaming tonight in that Phoenix game. They are playing, off the top of my head, the Clippers with all those bigs, in Clipperland. I don't think they're going to toss out Maluak. Maybe they do, but I don't think they're going to toss him out there. And they're going to need some size to play. And then the Clippers are going to be playing with hopefully some piss and vinegar after just getting walloped the game before. What else do we got here?
Let's talk about the Pacers and their odds on FanDuel to win a championship.
To win the championship?
I think so. I think that's
Tyrese Halliburton out there shooting the basketball.
I don't know.
Is he out there a little bit?
They're the 21st highest odds on FanDuel. They're at plus 70,000. Interesting thing about the Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder is the Thunder could easily be 0-2 right now, right? They almost got beat by Houston in game 1. They got taken to overtime by Indiana last night. Indiana looked really good. They could be 0-2. Like Boston's 0-1. Cleveland is 0-1. We've talked about this over and over that the East is not that strong. My friends in Indy think the Pacers are going to be bad because TJ McConnell's hurt, Tyrese Halliburton is hurt, and Miles Turner is in Milwaukee. But Matherin's coming on, Toppin's coming on, and Rick Carlisle is not one of those coaches that's just going to lay down and chill. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't think Indiana can win it all. And I think that what Andre was saying here is they were 70,000 to win it all. Is that worth $10? Maybe.
What I like about bets like this, if you're going to choose to throw your money away, is that they can build into something better. And so, like, I don't think they've got a chance in hell if they don't develop one of Isaiah Jackson or Jay Huff, and in particular Jay Huff. Jay Huff needs to be their Miles Turner, and then Andrew Nembhard needs to stay healthy, and that is that's incredibly important. Without him, I mean, they may be able to survive without TJ McConnell, but this isn't about them winning. Let me cut to that chase. This isn't about them winning. This is about them advancing. So if you get money in on something like this at 70,000, if you want to try to take this tack, I don't know if anybody should, but if you wanted to get it and get the money in while it's kind of ridiculous, and then the core survives, and they can get Jay Huff to be a reasonable, poor man's version of Miles Turner, and come in the playoffs with a healthy TJ McConnell, kind of the whole band except for Tyrese Halliburton, and then they can advance past the first round, past the second round, and you just put whatever you put on this. Now you've leveraged that position, and you can take the opposing team, further and further down the chain. I might look more at like what's the Eastern Conference odds look like for those guys, and then if they can make it into the last four, you can start to leverage that, the other side of that bet. And then you can have money on both sides of the line is the way that ends out. So,
well, get on over to FanDuel and take a look at the odds and pick out a team that you feel good about and get in there, mix it up.
Go for the Eastern Conference bet. That would be to me, that's the one I think that could be interesting. Pardon me, for betting purposes. And that'll do it for us here today, I believe, unless there's something you absolutely have to talk about, Doc.
No.
Anything you absolutely have to talk about? Okay. Well, thank you, Andre, for running a great show. Thanks, Doc, for doing great as usual. Thank you, listeners, for supporting us. Go check out the companion article for what we've been talking about here over at sportsethos.com. Mike Passador has won 30 deep 3 times in something like 7 years, 8 years. And that's got the best of the best in the game playing in that league. He's writing this article, so you can essentially, like, on the go on your phone, it's 3:50 Pacific time and lineups are hitting and you're like, oh my God, who do I stream? Well, he's got everything laid out for you in such a pristine fashion, and it's really fast, and it's also extraordinarily effective. You got one of the best in the business who does blurb work every single night, covering this league ad nauseum. So go ahead and get on over to Sports Ethos, check out a membership, and see if you can get in on that. And that'll wrap it up. That's been Fantasy NBA Today, presented by FanDuel. We'll see you guys tomorrow.